Last section in our chapter about pronouns is on the difference between essential and non-essential pronouns. And you may remember from our conversation about commas that we talked about these, that essential interrupters are ones that are essential to the meaning of the sentence, so we don't set them off with commas, while non-essential interrupters are not essential to the meaning of the sentence, and we do set them off with commas. Here are two sentences that illustrate the point. The vehicle that I drive on the weekends is a red truck. Well, that I drive on the weekends identifies which vehicle I'm talking about, so it's essential. My red truck, it's identified by those words themselves, which I use to load yard supplies, is a Ford. Okay, so this is non-essential. Okay, so as we can see from these sentences, that begins essential clauses, and we don't have commas setting off such clauses, and which begins non-essential clauses, and we do have commas setting off these commas. Now this is when we're referring to things. When we refer to people, we use who and whom. So this makes things really nice if we remember to do this, because anytime we have which, we're going to have a comma before it, and anytime we have that, we're not going to have a comma before it. This is a very useful distinction. It forces us as writers to decide whether we are, in fact, beginning an essential or non-essential clause, which can be really important to the meaning of the sentence. Now, I confess that this is not a distinction that the majority of people who write in English make. In fact, this is a distinction that is fairly sophisticated and nuanced, and that the large majority of people who write in English do not make. But I think it is a useful one, as I say, because I think it forces us to be more precise in our thinking and in our writing. And I have some expert support for that opinion from Strunk and White, who wrote The Elements of Style, which is probably the best writing guide still available. And they say, careful writers, watchful for small conveniences, go witch hunting, remove the defining whiches, and by so doing improve their work. Our ear tells us that we don't use which, or we don't use that to begin a non-essential clause. We wouldn't say my red truck, that I use to load yard supplies, probably. But we could easily use which here, the vehicle which I drive. To many people that sounds just as good. And what Strunk and White are saying is, let's go witch hunting and avoid the which when we're beginning an essential clause.